Folks, it's almost unfair that the vast majority of voting Americans have no concept of anything other than Democrat versus Republican. The very first thought someone has when you talk to them about politics ends up being, well, that's what the Republicans are doing, or, oh, that's a Trump thing, or whatever. And unfortunately, that's about as far as their brain can fathom. It's about as far as the depths of their knowledge go. They refuse to learn. They have no intention of learning. It is more than enough for them to know that the person is a Democrat. I'm going to give you a case in point. So put this meme up here saying, do you support the ratification of the U.S., Mexico, Canada trade agreement passed by the House? I'm saying one thing that should be obvious. No one is paying attention to the policy debate, or there would absolutely be zero support for candidates not named Bernie Sanders. It's actually pathetic to see the other twits have any supporters. And this guy says Bernie agrees with Trump on trade. Somehow that great in Bernie land, it's a cult. You know, first of all, people that use the word cult tend to not be of high value to society. That word cult is a derogatory term used to denigrate anybody that says something that they don't understand. It's usually a sign of a lesser intellect that uses the word cult. And so this is the first thought. But the reality is Bernie stands alone on this. And here's the deal. All the other ones, every last one of them, except for Deval Patrick and Steyer, who have really kind of stood on the fence so they don't have to take a position, all but Bernie is against it. I mean, for it. So you got, look at the people, Biden, Bloomberg, Buttigieg, man, Delaney, Gabbard. Sorry, folks. Yes, Gabbard, neoliberal side. Warren, Klobuchar, Yang, all of them pushing for free trade. Bernie has always stood against this, and there's a reason for it. And I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about this tonight because I think it's almost criminal not to understand. When you understand that the United States government creates markets, when it is the market creator, it's the price setter, it's the monopoly issuer of the currency. We are, in essence, facilitating a high-speed race to the bottom with these trade agreements because the government doesn't backfill the deficit. We hear constantly, we got to reduce the deficit, we got to reduce spending. But in reality, the United States government has allowed us to persist, and I would say it's okay, with a $500 billion annual trade deficit. Now, why does that matter? I don't mind buying imports because imports are goods and services. We're just giving them pieces of paper, digits for their goods and services. We could be taking our digits and pieces of paper and facilitating infrastructure rebuilds domestically. We could be absolutely, completely from the ground up rebuilding our education system. We could be making it free to all. We could make federal holidays out of Election Day. We could be doing a whole Green New Deal without any hesitation. But when you do free trade, you're putting the economy in the hands of the private capitalist sector. And you are, by extension, allowing everyone's lives to hang in the balance of the natural business cycle. So the business cycle seeks to maximize profit, lower expenses, maximize productivity, as idiot David Brooks said today in a New York Times piece, and ultimately leaves humanity behind. The people that have the money, the capitalists that have the money, they win on these trade deals because they get cheap labor elsewhere. But we, the people, we don't win from this. We could win, hands down, if we understood the way money worked. But we don't. And what's clear, and it should be clear, is that these idiots, this guy right here, this Gregory Ely guy, is an absolute moron, and he's a Biden supporter. Fancy that. But when you look at this right here, it should be blatantly clear that that entire stack of candidates doesn't get it except for Bernie. Bernie alone is being advised by economically competent people. These folks over here are all, folks, literally, every single one of them is a neoliberal. Every single one of them is about fattening markets and about fattening capital. Every single freaking one of them. There's only one guy standing up for the little people, and that's Bernie Sanders. And it's right there for you. And this jackwad, this wad of all jacks, says Bernie agrees with Trump on trade. Somehow that great in Bernie land. It's a cult. I mean, we have been screwed for so long, not only by the economics profession that has lied to us from day one. Paul Krugman, a lying sack of shit. And every one of these guys like Rogoff, you name it, all lying sacks of shit. Not misguided, folks. Lapdogs for the oligarchs. David Brooks of the New York Times talking about the Bernie Sanders fallacy and whining about productivity in businesses and how we should all be held to a higher standard of producing more for the man. Folks, every single one of these candidates except for Bernie Sanders is for trade agreements, these friggin' free trade agreements that have screwed us from day one. And then you got these assholes running around telling us that we have all got to fall in line, that this is divisive. We're doing Fox News' work for them. The shamefulness of the unknowledgeable. The shamefulness of the identity politics that vote for Warren or like Warren because she's a woman. The shamefulness of the people that don't look at policy, that put us all at risk. The shamefulness of all those who don't take the time to understand that just vote based on a political party. Vote blue no matter who. Let me show you how different that looks. One more NAFTA, one more CAFTA, one more other freaking free trade agreement to destroy our nation. One more. And every one of those scumbags is voting for it. Neoliberalism is absolutely your enemy. Neoliberalism is all of our enemy. It's not enough to say, well, they get along and they're friends and they're in the same party. That's not remotely fair. Folks, when you understand the way neoliberalism works, you understand that it's always based on us needing to do just a little bit better. We needed to perform just a little bit better at work, perform just a little bit better in our lives, perform just a little bit better. It's always our fault. It's never the capitalist's fault. It's never the people who create these shitty free trade agreements' fault. It's just you and mine. We made mistakes. We lived the wrong way. We erred. It is not good enough to have a D in front of your name, to be seen as a decent person, to be seen as a person fighting for the regular people. That picture right there on the screen is all you need to know. And for those people that try and, sometimes we don't agree and, it just sort of, No, neoliberalism is the enemy. I don't care what party it shows its ugly grill in. Do you understand? It's neoliberalism that is the destroyer of the middle class, of the poor, of the immigrant. Neoliberalism alone destroys these people, and it is a bipartisan fuckery. Neoliberalism is the enemy. And when people prop up these bullshit plans like a free trade agreement or something just as bad in a UBI that lifts up these kind of agreements to allow capital to run amok and gives you a stipend to be a consumption unit, because that's how little respect they have for humanity, you realize that there's only one candidate, just one, that's fighting for you and me. Now, I don't really care about the candidate per se. I care about the platform. He is saying it's us, not him, us. So when I think about a mass movement that it's required to fundamentally restructure and change America, there's only one. And you're looking at the picture right there for the proof of the pudding. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progress in Action, hoping you start doing a little bit more homework, digging in just a little deeper, and educating people a little bit more. Good luck, everybody. We're in it together, no matter what. Have a great night. I'm out.